Hey guys, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. If you are a first timer here, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and wanting to watch it. If you have been here before, thank you so much for coming back because, you know, I can't guarantee that everybody's going to come back. So thank you so much. If you're sitting here watching this video right now, my name is Nana. I am a nurse / nurse practitioner. So I talk about nursing sometimes in my videos, but most of the time these days, I talk about my locks. So I have Sisterlocks, and but a lot of the Sisterlock content is completely like transferable and relatable to Microlocks. So really it's Sisterlocks and Microlocks. It's the same thing pretty much, with some differences. And I actually, if you want to know the difference between Sisterlocks and Microlocks and traditional locks, I actually have a video where I explain that, and I will put a link at the end of this video, and also I can also put it in the description box. So here on my channel, I talk about locks, like I said, and if you are thinking about getting locks, if you have locks, or if you know somebody that has locks that needs more information, please like, comment, share, and hit that subscribe button. Can't talk. Hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any content. Also remember to hit the notification bell so that whenever I put anything out, you get a little ding that tells you that I've released a video. I try to release a video once a week. And so today I'm going to be talking about the interlocking process, and I'm going to go into a little bit about the different kinds, 2-point, 3-point, 4-point rotation, which is all part of the interlocking process. So stay tuned. So interlocking. Interlocking is basically like a method used to maintain locks. So a lot of the times for Sisterlocks and Microlocks, it'll be used to start the locks, but most of the time I probably would say that that's the method that is used to maintain the locks for Sisterlocks and Microlocks. Traditional locks a lot of the time is more palm rolling, even though some locticians use interlocking to maintain traditional locks, but most of the time interlocking is usually used to maintain Sisterlocks and Microlocks. Now, interlocking is also one of the ways that locks are started. So again, it can be for Microlocks, but for Sisterlocks, 100% of the time, if you're getting Sisterlocks, you know, the branded one, if you're getting Sisterlocks, it will be started with interlocking. Microlocks can be started with double-stranded twists or braids or interlocking, but Sisterlocks 100% of the time should be started with interlocking. So it is a method of putting, you know, the hair strands in a position for it to be able to lock, and it's a way of getting the strands together, so to speak. And I actually thought it was interesting because I didn't know what it was before I got locks, but when I was watching my loctician install my locks, it's actually done when it's being used to start the locks. It's actually done from the tip to the root, and it's like, you know, I don't know how to do it, but it's very, very cool to watch. It's literally like they're weaving, and it goes from the tip and then it gets to the root. And then a lot of the times they use their fingers from the tip, and then once you get to the root and it gets a little tighter, then they use a tool to kind of get the rest of it done. So that's when it's used to start. Now, when it's used to maintain, it's basically a way of passing your locks through the roots in a very specific pattern in order to incorporate all the new growth that you've accumulated since the last time that you had it done. So they pass through the roots, and I'm going to talk about how they pass through the root systemically and, like, you know, very precisely in a very specific pattern in order to create more of the interlock, to create more of the lock, to incorporate your new growth into the lock that is already existing. So you'll hear the term retightening, and so that's what is usually being done when you go for your retightening. When you get locks, is they retighten the new growth by passing the lock through the root. Now, I've noticed, or I have seen several different types of tools that locticians use, and every loctician is different. My loctician uses that tool right there, but at least according to my research, I feel like if I ever got to the point where I was self-maintaining, which, oh, God help me, I wish that it never comes to that, because I have like 400 locks. I ain't about to do that. I would probably use that tool, because that seems to be the one where it's just easier. You just slip your lock through and you just pass it through the root in that pattern that I'm going to be talking about. So different kinds of tools, different kinds of people, you know, everybody uses what they're most comfortable with. Now, like I was saying before, there are three main ways or three main patterns where people that do locks, locticians, or if you self-maintain, you know, people that are, you know, are able to do it, there are three main methods that they use, and they are the 2-point, the 3-point, and the 4-point rotation. Now, we're going to start with the 2-point. The 2-point rotation is getting the lock through the roots in, and I'm going to put my clock right here, because that's a good way to kind of visualize. And some people also use kind of directional coordinates, like north, south, east, and west. I like the clock, you know, because it's everybody knows clocks, right? So if you're looking at the clock, the 2-point rotation goes in a 3 o'clock and a 6 o'clock. So 3 o'clock meaning going like that. You pass the lock through the roots that way, and then once you pull it out, then you pass the lock going through this way, and you're coming through, and then you're back over this way, and then back that way, and you just keep going until, you know, you tighten all the way to where your scalp, you feel like it's tight enough on your scalp but not too tight, and then you stop and you go to the next one. Now, the 2-point rotation, apparently I've never actually seen this or have used it, obviously, but I was talking to my loctician and she said she only uses that one on people that have traditional locks. Like if she's interlocking the roots of people with traditional locks, if she's going to be interlocking, she will use the 2-point rotation. She never uses 3 or 4-point rotation, because the 2-point rotation, according to her and according to a little bit of research that I've done, is the loosest one, and sometimes it can make your locks a little bumpier because it's going only in 2 directions. So it makes it a little bumpier, and so the traditional locks will be a little bit more conducive. It's not really ideal for smaller size locks, because it can get your locks to be a little bit bumpier. Now, next, for the 3-point rotation, the lock is passed through in a 3, 6, 3, 12 rotation. Now, let's try to visualize a little bit. So again, clock. And so you're gonna pass the lock through the roots in this direction. So 3, 6, 3, and then 12. So 3, oh, that was wrong. 3, I'm confusing myself. 6, 3, and then 12. And you keep doing that until you feel like your lock is tight enough on your roots, and then you stop. Now, the 3-point rotation is obviously tighter than the 2-point rotation, but it's fluffier than the 4-point rotation. The 4-point rotation, and I'm going to talk about it, is probably the tightest one, and that's what my loctician uses on my head, is the 3 points. Now, she said when we started my locks, we started with the 4-point, because the 4-point is the tightest one, and it's especially also good for people that are more prone to slippage, with us with a little bit of a looser curl. The 4-point is good to start with, but the 3-point is good because it's fluffier than the 4-point rotation. And so it's good for after your locks have locked, it's good to kind of give it the most volume that your hair is going to get. I mean, obviously for me, it's not a lot because I have low density locks, but I was actually going to tell her if she was doing the 4-point to switch it to 3-point, but she was way ahead of me. She got me covered already. Now, this rotation is definitely better for the ladies that have a little bit of a looser curl, like the 3B, 3C kind of curl pattern, because it's fluffier. And again, I think in the beginning, it's good to use the 4-point rotation just so to keep everything from slipping. But then once everything locks, you can use a 3-point rotation, a little bit fluffier, a little bit more volume. For those of us who need volume, this probably is the one to use. Now, the last rotation is the 4-point rotation, which goes in 9, 6, 3, 12 rotations. So you go through all four, you know, of the quarter marks on the clock. So again, clock, and you're gonna go through, let me use this hand, 9, 6, 3, and 12. So 9, 6, 3, and 12. And again, you do that until all the new growth has pretty much been, you know, incorporated into the lock, newly interlocked. And usually this is the tightest one. So what my loctician was telling me is that for the ladies with a little bit of tighter curl, you know, 4B, 4C hair, this is the best, because a lot of times, you know, with ladies with that curl pattern have much thicker locks, and so this one can kind of reduce the volume a little bit because it's really tight. So this is what works probably the best for people that have much thicker hair, thicker locks. It's also good, like I was saying before, for whenever the locks are being started, because it helps to accelerate the locking process, because it helps to keep it together. And for those of us like me, for instance, who is so much more prone to slippage and or the locks unraveling, it works really well, because it kept, especially my edges unraveled so much in the beginning, and so it helps to keep the edges really together so that it doesn't unravel or slip, and helps it to lock a little bit faster. So this is the tightest one. It really is the best for ladies with the much tighter curl patterns, especially if you don't want a lot of volume and, you know, you want to obviously keep the volume down. This is a good one for you. So for my lock sisters that are already locked, did you know this information? Like, I didn't even really know like all the different nuances until I really asked my loctician. But after hearing this, do you want to make some changes? Do you know what your loctician uses, or if you self-maintain, what do you use, and do you like the outcome? Do you want to make a change? Leave me some comments, because I'm curious. I was, like I said, I was going to tell my loctician to change my rotation. If she was doing 4-point, I was going to ask her to go to 3-point, but she was already there. She was already doing 3-point, because I need all the volume I can get. But if you have any like comments, or, you know, let me know what you use, or do you know what you use, or do you know where your loctician uses? Maybe loctician uses, and maybe you should ask if you don't know. This is a good information to know, and if you need to make any changes, you can make some changes. But anyway, that's all. I wanted to just kind of, you know, after learning all this stuff, I was like, I wonder how many people even know this, because I wasn't super educated on the interlocking process and all the different kinds. I was just happy to get my hair locked. But, you know, this is good information to know if you have Sisterlocks or Microlocks, or if you're thinking about getting locked, and also traditional locks, because, you know, the 2-point rotation can be used also. So that's good to know. But anyway, thank you so much for coming and watching and hanging out until now. Again, don't forget to comment, hit the like button, subscribe if you like this content. I have so much more coming, and I try to put something out every week. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.